Dear friends, strong chemical hair dyes. Are you really going to keep them on your head for the rest of your life? Name asked, my SeniorLifeNow family. I'm Dr. Ononyo Aya, dermatologist and hair specialist, your partner in staying healthy and confident in your later years. Imagine that you and I are sitting together in my clinic in Lucknow with a cup of hot adrak chai between us. In that relaxed mood, I want to tell you about one of my patients, a lady who reminds me of many of you watching today. Her name is Mrs. Lata Verma, a 72-year-old retired Hindi teacher from Kanpur. When she first visited me, she said something I will never forget. Dr. Saab, every time I color my hair, my scalp burns as if someone has rubbed red chili on it. It becomes red, tight and itchy for 2 or 3 days. But if I don't color it, in just 1 week a white line appears on my mang. Inside, I still feel like the later who used to ride her scooter to school. But when I see myself in the mirror, I feel like someone's old doddy. At weddings and family functions, I avoid standing in the front for photos. Tell me honestly, do I have to fight with hair dye for the rest of my life? As she spoke, her eyes became moist. I listened and then asked, how often do you color your hair? She replied, earlier it was once in 2 months. Now it has become once in 15 days. And after each time, I can't even sleep properly because of the burning. Friends, I know many of you have gone through the same thing. I told her gently, Mrs. Verma, completely removing every grey hair is difficult. But I can definitely help you escape this painful cycle of burning scalp and constant coloring. And the solution does not have to be strong chemical dye each time. There is another way to soften the color of your grey hair while protecting your scalp. At first, she didn't believe me. Dr. Saab, I have colored my hair with the same box dye for more than 20 years. What else can work at this age? Her scalp had become so sensitive that even so-called herbal dyes made it red and tight. Finally, she said, I have taught children for 40 years. If you give me homework, I will follow it properly. Just save my scalp. So I shared with her a gentle, natural coating method that she could do by herself at home, using the ingredients shared later in this video. She promised to follow it for 1 month exactly as I explained. After 4 weeks, she returned to my clinic smiling in a way I'd never seen before. Doctor, look, she said, moving her hair back with her fingers. The grays are still there if you search closely, but from a normal distance, they hardly show. My scalp is calm, no burning, no sleepless nights. And the biggest miracle, I did not touch my usual dye for the entire month. Friends, that day I realized again how much one small change in hair can change a person's confidence. Today, I want to share the same method with all of you. If you watch this video to the end, you will learn the natural remedy to protect your scalp and hair, and you will enjoy every day with regained confidence. Before we start, if you can like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, blessings will overflow in your life. A simple click helps this message reach seniors who are in need of it. Now, we'll slowly understand why our scalp becomes so sensitive with age, and how this gentle Indian glazing method can help you manage grey hair without torturing your scalp. First, let us accept one important truth. Grey hair is not a disease. It is a natural sign that the hair's color-producing cells, called melanocytes, are getting older and working less. Just like the number of our birthdays goes up, melanocytes also age. No cream, oil, or yoga can completely stop this process. So what is the real problem? Not the graying itself, but the speed and pattern of graying and the emotional pressure it puts on us. In India, even after 60, we attend marriages, mundans, housewarmings, satsangs, and school functions for grandchildren. There are photos and videos from every angle, and within minutes they appear in dozens of WhatsApp groups. Many seniors tell me, Doctor, I feel fine the whole day, but when I see one photo where my grey hair shines under the light, I suddenly feel 10 years older. To escape that feeling, People pick up the dye box again even when the scalp is already suffering. Why do we keep doing this? Because hair is not just hair. It is part of our self-image. When the face still looks lively, but the front hairline turns white, we feel that the outside no longer matches how young we feel inside. So it is important to first understand why dyes that were once tolerable suddenly become unbearable after 60. The main reason is simple, but not many people talk about it. The scalp grows old faster than the face. Every day in my clinic, I compare the skin of the face and the skin of the scalp of seniors. The face definitely becomes thinner and drier with age, but the scalp changes even more quickly. Think about everything your scalp goes through in India. Strong sun almost all year, dust and pollution from traffic, sweat from heat and humidity, frequent shampooing, rubbing with nails, hot air from hair dryers, and then a thick layer of hair dye sitting directly on the skin. Over 60 or 70 years, this constant stress weakens the scalp's protective barrier. In younger days, the outer layer of the scalp, the epidermis and stratum corneum, is thicker and more organized. Natural oils and moisture fill the tiny spaces between cells like good cement between bricks. So if a 25-year-old colors her hair once in a while, the scalp may get slightly irritated, but it repairs itself quickly. After 60, several things happen together. The outer skin layer becomes thinner. The protective barrier becomes looser. Natural oil production decreases, so the scalp becomes drier. Water escapes more easily, making small cracks in the surface. Now, when strong dye chemicals like PPD, paraphenylendine, ammonia, hydrogen peroxide, and harsh preservatives touch this already weak skin, the reaction is much stronger. Instead of mild tingling, seniors feel burning, itching, tightness that can last for hours or days. Some even develop dark patches or small wounds. Many patients ask me, "Doctor, did the company change the formula?" It never burned like this before. In most cases, the answer is no. The dye is similar, but your scalp has changed. Your scalp is not being too sensitive. It is simply telling you, "I am tired. Please stop attacking me." If we listen to that message, our approach automatically changes. Instead of pushing color deep into the hair with harsh chemicals, we start thinking about gently coating only the surface. This is where the idea of glazing comes in. Imagine your hair like a clear glass bangle. Changing the color of the glass itself requires very high heat and chemicals. But if you simply paint a thin, translucent layer on top of the glass, you can change how it looks without harming the glass. Gray hair is similar. Putting the original pigment back inside the hair is very difficult. But adding a soft colored film on the outside of the hair is absolutely possible. And here we get a small advantage. Senior hair is often slightly rougher and more porous. That texture actually helps surface pigments stick better. So, instead of fighting against age, we use the nature of senior hair to our benefit. From now on, I will introduce 3 simple ingredients that most of you can find easily in India and explain how they work together. To create this gentle glaze, among all the natural options I have tested, 3 stood out as especially suitable for Indian seniors: strong black tea, black sesame seeds, kala till, and vegetable glycerine. Each one has a special job. When they work together, the result is surprisingly powerful yet gentle. Let's understand them one by one. First, black tea is the tannin shield. Most Indian homes have tea leaves or tea bags. Black tea contains compounds called tannins. Tannins have a special property. They love to bind to proteins. Hair is made mainly of a protein called keratin. When you apply a very strong black tea brew to the hair, the tannins attach to the hair surface and form a thin, invisible film. This film itself has a light brown color. On dark black hair, you may not see much change. But on white or gray hair, That light brown film makes a visible softening of color. Think of it as painting beige paper with brown ink. The change may be gentle, but it is clear. Second, black sesame seeds is the depth and shadow. We call them kala til or kurupu elu. We put them in ladoos, chutneys, podis, and know they are good for bones and general strength. When black sesame seeds are finely ground, they release a deep dark color because of natural plant pigments like anthocyanins. When this dark pigment is layered on top of the brown tea film, the overall color becomes richer and deeper. So, black tea gives the base, black sesame adds the shadow. Finally, vegetable glycerine is the moisture glue. Glycerine is a clear, slightly sweet liquid you can buy in any pharmacy. It is used in many moisturizers and soaps. Scientifically, glycerine is a humect. It pulls moisture from the air and holds it. Dry hair has tiny empty spaces where pieces of the hair structure have worn away. Any pigment sitting on top can fall off quickly, like dry mud flaking away. When we add glycerine, it keeps the hair slightly hydrated, making it more flexible and helping the pigment film stick for longer. In simple language, glycerine works like a safe, gentle glue, holding the tea and sesame color to the hair surface. When these three ingredients are mixed in the right ratio, we get a glazing cream that can darken the appearance of gray hair by a few shades without burning, itching, or strong smell. Will it turn your hair jet black like fresh dye? No, and we should be honest about that. But for many seniors, it reduces the brightness of gray so much that from a normal conversation distance the hair looks more uniform and softer. Now that you know why it works, let us learn how to prepare it exactly at home. We start with the most important part, the black tea concentrate. Tea for glazing is not like tea for drinking. When we drink, we steep the bag for 3 to 5 minutes. For glazing, that is far too weak. Through many trials with my patients, I found a simple and reliable formula. For every 200 milliliters of water, use 2 black tea bags and steep for at least 10 minutes. With 1 bag, the color is too light. With 3 or more, too many tannins make some people's hair feel stiff and rough. So 2 tea bags gives the best balance. Here is the method. Boil 200 milliliters of water. Switch off the gas. Add 2 black tea bags, or around 2 heaped teaspoons of loose black tea. Cover the vessel and let it steep. Every few minutes, lift the bags up and down 2 or 3 times to release more color and tannins. After 10 minutes, the liquid should be a very dark brown, almost black. This is your tea concentrate. Let it cool down until it is warm, not hot. When a drop is placed on the back of your hand, it should feel pleasantly warm, not burning. Next comes the black sesame paste. Take 2 tablespoons of black sesame seeds. You may dry roast them very lightly for a minute just to remove surface moisture, but do not make them brown or burnt. Grind the seeds in a small mixer jar or with a mortar and pestle until they become as fine as possible. The ideal texture is, when you rub a pinch between 2 fingers, you feel only a slight graininess. If you squeeze a little, it feels moist, but oil does not drip out. If the paste is too coarse, it will stick in clumps to some strands and fold off others. If it is too oily, the hair can become greasy and flat. Now we add the third ingredient, glycerine. Use only vegetable glycerine meant for cosmetic or skincare use. For our basic batch, 1 level teaspoon is usually ideal. Too much glycerine makes the mixture heavy and sticky and can weigh the hair down. Too little reduces the ability of the color to stay on the hair. So remember this simple ratio. Black tea to black sesame to glycerine is 4 to 2 to 1. For example, 4 tablespoons of warm tea concentrate, 2 tablespoons of finely ground black sesame, and 1 teaspoon of glycerine. Next, I will show you how to mix these together into a smooth glazing cream and how to apply it correctly for the best results. Take a clean, medium-sized bowl. First, pour in 4 tablespoons of the warm tea concentrate. Add 2 tablespoons of the sesame paste. Then add 1 level teaspoon of glycerine. With a spoon, stir slowly in one direction. Do not whip or beat quickly like making cake batter. Fast stirring creates bubbles, and air pockets prevent smooth coating on the hair. As you stir, you will see the mixture become thicker and creamier with a deep chocolate brown color. The ideal consistency is not so runny so that it drips down your neck. Not so thick so that it sits in lumps and refuses to spread. If it is too thick, add a teaspoon of warm tea. If it is too thin, add a little more sesame paste. Before using it all over your head, do a patch test, especially if you have sensitive skin or any allergies. Apply a little mixture on the skin behind your ear or on the inside of your forearm. Leave it for 30 minutes, then rinse with water only. If there is no burning, redness, or rash over the next 24 hours, you can use it safely. Now, when is the best time to apply the glaze? From my experience, the color catches best on slightly damp hair, not dripping wet and not completely dry. Here is a simple routine. Wash your hair with a mild shampoo. Rinse thoroughly to remove any oil or dirt. Wrap your hair in a towel and gently squeeze out the water. After 5 to 10 minutes, your hair should feel damp, but not dripping. This is the perfect time. At this stage, the outer layer of the hair, the cuticle, is slightly lifted from washing. That allows the tea and sesame pigment to slip into tiny spaces and hold better. Now we apply. Start with the areas where grey hair is most noticeable, the front hairline, the parting line, and the temples near the ears. Use your fingers or a small brush to apply the mixture generously on these zones first. Make sure the hair strands are fully covered from root to a few centimeters down. After covering the grayer areas, take more mixture and spread it through the rest of the hair in sections, gently massaging with your fingertips. Avoid using your nails, they can scratch the scalp. Once the whole head is coated, comb very gently with a wide-toothed comb to distribute the mixture evenly. Now the important question: how long should you keep it on? Chemical dyes often promise color in 10 minutes because they use strong reactions deep inside the hair. Our glazing method works like slow marination in the kitchen. It needs time for the pigment film to settle firmly on the surface. From testing on many seniors with different hair types, I found that the ideal duration is 30 to 40 minutes. If you wash it off in 10 to 15 minutes, you may hardly see any change. If you keep it for more than an hour, some people feel the hair becomes a bit dry. So aim for 30 to 40 minutes. During that time, you can relax, listen to bhajans, or chat with family. After the time is up, we reach the step where most people unknowingly spoil the result, the rinsing and aftercare. First rule: do not use shampoo immediately. Remember, the pigment film needs around 6 hours to fully attach to the hair's protein. If you shampoo right away, you rub off most of what you just built. So after 30 to 40 minutes, rinse your hair with water only. Use your hands to gently press and squeeze the hair under running water. Do not use shampoo or conditioner at this point. Some black sesame grains will wash out. That is normal. A thin, invisible film will remain on the hair. Second rule: use cool or lukewarm water, never very hot water. Hot water softens the newly formed film and pushes it off the hair surface. Water that feels slightly cool on the back of your hand is usually best. Third rule: no rough rubbing. Do not scratch your scalp with nails. Do not rub hair against hair like washing clothes. Treat your hair as if it is covered with a delicate rangoli design. If you scrub hard, the design will disappear. After rinsing, wrap your hair in a soft towel and gently press to absorb the water. Do not rub vigorously. Fourth rule: dry naturally if possible. Let your hair dry in the shade with natural air. If you must use a dryer, keep it on a low or cool setting and hold it at a distance. High heat can weaken the pigment layer and shorten how long it lasts. Now, how often should you repeat this process? From my patients' results, a simple schedule works best. For the first 2 weeks, glaze twice a week. For example, Tuesday and Friday. After that, glaze once a week for maintenance. In the first 2 weeks, you are building the base coats. The color slowly becomes deeper as layers accumulate. Most people notice a clear difference after 3 to 4 sessions. The grays do not vanish, but they stop shouting. The last point in this page is about shampoo choice. On days you are not glazing, use a mild shampoo. Avoid shampoos that promise very strong cleansing, cooling menthol, or for very oily scalp, because they strip away the pigment film quickly. Choose a gentle shampoo that leaves your hair clean, but not squeaky or stiff. Next, let us look at the common mistakes that make people feel, "Doctor, this method doesn't work." Over time, I have noticed that when glazing fails, it is usually because of a small mistake in the process, not because the method is useless. Here are the 7 most common mistakes and how to avoid them. The first mistake is weak tea. Using only 1 tea bag or steeping for just 4 to 5 minutes creates a light, watery brew with very little tannin. Result is almost no color change. Solution is 2 tea bags, 10 full minutes. The tea should look almost black. The second mistake is coarse sesame. If the sesame is roughly ground, the grains stick in patches, making some areas darker and some almost unchanged. Solution is to grind until the texture is close to fine powder, with only slight graininess, and stop before oil drips out. The next mistake is too much glycerine. Some people think, if glycerine helps, more must be better. But excess glycerine makes hair heavy, sticky, and can even attract dust. Solution is to stick to the ratio, 1 level teaspoon for the basic batch. The fourth mistake is applying on dripping wet hair. When hair is too wet, extra water dilutes the mixture and reduces pigment absorption. Solution is to always remove at least half the moisture with a towel before applying. The fifth mistake is short processing time. Washing off in 10 to 15 minutes does not allow enough time for the film to form. Solution is keep it on for 30 to 40 minutes consistently. The sixth mistake is shampooing immediately. This is perhaps the biggest culprit. Shampoo on the same day removes much of the pigment before it stabilizes. Solution is to rinse with water only after application and shampoo gently the next morning. The seventh mistake is rough shampooing habits. Even with a mild shampoo, scrubbing hard with nails and rubbing hair together peels off the coating. Solution is to use your palms, massage gently, and let the foam travel along the hair length without harsh friction. Now that you know the mistakes, the next natural question is this method suitable for my scalp? Let us talk about which scalp types benefit the most and who should be careful. From my experience with Indian seniors, glazing is especially helpful for people with sensitive scalps that become red or itchy with normal dyes. Those with dry scalps that feel tight, flaky, or uncomfortable. Seniors with fine or thinning hair where harsh chemicals may increase breakage. For these groups, because glazing mainly stays on the hair surface and uses kitchen-level ingredients, it usually causes far less irritation. Many of my patients reported that thanks to glycerine, their hair felt softer, easier to comb, and less frizzy. However, there are some situations where you should be cautious. Those with hot, inflamed scalp. Some people naturally feel a lot of heat on the head. They may say, My scalp always feels garum and prickly. For them, too much glycerine can feel heavy. They can either use slightly less glycerine or glaze less frequently. Those with active scalp diseases, such as severe seborrheic dermatitis, infected dandruff, or open wounds. In such cases, even natural particles like sesame powder can irritate the skin. If you have these conditions, please meet a dermatologist first. Treat the inflammation and only then consider glazing, starting with a small test area. Also remember, natural does not mean safe for everyone always. Some people may still be allergic to tea, sesame, or glycerine. That's why the patch test is very important. There is another danger people rarely think about. Sometimes the result is so good that they become greedy. They start doing glazing 3 or 4 times a week, hoping for darker, faster color. But when the coating builds up too much, hair can feel heavy, sticky, and lose its natural movement. As I often tell my patients, even too much of prasad can give you a stomach ache. The correct rhythm is simple. For the first 2 weeks, twice a week to build the base. After that, once a week for maintenance. Glazing is not a medicine for all hair problems. You still need good food, proper sleep, enough protein, iron, and vitamins, and regular health checkups. But glazing does offer a kinder option for handling grey hair without hurting your scalp. Finally, I will summarize today's learning in 3 simple points. First, for Indian seniors whose scalps have become thin, dry, and sensitive, frequent strong hair dyes can cause burning and damage. Gentle surface coating methods, like glazing, are usually safer than repeated deep chemical coloring. Second, when the tannins of black tea, the natural dark pigments of black sesame, and the moisture-holding power of glycerine are combined in the right ratio, they form a soft coating film on the hair surface that tones down the brightness of grey hairs without harsh irritation. Third, if you carefully follow the ratio time rinse rule, 4 to 2 to 1 mixture, 30 to 40 minutes processing, water-only rinse, and gentle care, and maintain a sensible weekly schedule, you can often cut your dyeing frequency and still look fresh and confident. The glazing method we discussed is not magic and not a replacement for medical treatment where needed. But it can reduce the sharp contrast between black and white strands and give you longer gaps between chemical dye sessions. Protect your scalp from repeated burning and itching. Restore a little more joy and confidence to your daily life. If you found this explanation clear and useful, please press the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification button for this channel Senior Life Now. Your one small click encourages me to make more videos on senior-friendly topics. Now, think of one person you know who worries about grey hair, your spouse, sibling, neighbor, or one of your parents. Please share this video with them. For that one person, this video could become the turning point that finally breaks their painful relationship with chemical dyes. With a little more love for your body, a little more patience for your mind, and gentle methods like glazing, you can live healthier, more energetic, and more confident days. Thank you for staying with me till the end. This is Dr. Onanya Iyer from Senior Life Now, wishing you a calm scalp, soft shining hair, and a peaceful, happy day ahead. Instead of pushing color deep into the hair with harsh chemicals, we start thinking about gently coating only the surface. This is where the idea of glazing comes in. Imagine your hair like a clear glass bangle. Changing the color of the glass itself requires very high heat and chemicals. But if you simply paint a thin, translucent layer on top of the glass, you can change how it looks without harming the glass. Gray hair is similar. Putting the original pigment back inside the hair is very difficult. But adding a soft-colored film on the outside of the hair is absolutely possible. And here we get a small advantage. Senior hair is often slightly rougher and more porous. That texture actually helps surface pigments stick better. So, instead of fighting against age, we use the nature of senior hair to our benefit.